Hello, I'm Dr. Margaret. I think I'd like to talk to you about the idea that we are constantly promoting ourselves, trying to get people to understand what we're thinking and what we're feeling. It's hard, isn't it, in this modern day with the web, we're swamped with emails, buy my product, do my course, pay out all this inordinate amount of money. We promise to support you, help you to achieve your goals and your ambitions, make sure that everything works for you, etc., etc. I probably get something like 400 emails a day from someone asking me if I would like to do their course. And I have to stop and say, in realistic ways, enough's enough. I mean, how many people are there out there that have suddenly become coaches, authorities on some kind of situation where they promise that they will absolutely change your life and make your life a better place to be? Well, of course, some of you know that I've had my radio show, Journey into an Unknown World, and I've been doing this for quite a while. And every time that I take a subject, I try to give insight and inspiration to individuals to help them understand that whatever they're doing, there is a point of view that is important to see. Today, I just spent a long time with a client who told me that they had spent $7,000 on some kind of program that they had worked on for a week or so and been told, do this, do that, so on. They got all hyped up. They really thought that this was something that would change their life. They got home and found they were overwhelmed, couldn't do all the phone calls and whatever was asked, and gave up. Can you imagine spending $7,000 just to give up? So I thought to myself, I'd like to talk to people about the understanding of self. We all come into this world with a coding that gives us a character and a personality. But before that can happen, we have to come through the womb. And before we can actually share who we are and what we're doing, we need to share with our mothers, spirit to spirit, heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind, body to body. So by the time we're born, we've already got a lot of ideas about who we are and what we're going to do in this world. Of course, the next thing is to learn to manage the body. So even as we roll over, crawl, sit up, stand, walk, we're already busy telling ourselves, according to our personal individual perceptions, that we will have to be something that we're not. Now that sounds strange, but actually it's a reality. People come into our lives when we're babies and tell us, you can't be this, don't do that. Remember to be what I tell you. Respond to me in some way that shows me you understand. And if you don't, then maybe I'll chastise you or I'll bribe you or promise you something better if you do exactly as I tell you. So be a good child and behave yourself, and then your rewards will come. And of course, you're young, you're in hypnosis, your eyes are going like this every time you see something. And before you know where you are, what you've actually found yourself doing is taking in the perceptions, the ideas, and trusting that. Of course, given time, you begin to learn, well, it's not so easy as I thought it was. All these people have told me, do this, do that, and I've obeyed, and I've studied, and I've done whatever I can see that is possible to do. And the next thing that happens is I feel let down. It's like I've tried so hard, and I've got nothing to show for it. I remember when I was in school, I liked to write stories, and my teacher said, no, you have to write facts. My first exam was about aeroplanes. What did I know about aeroplanes? Nothing. I'd never even been in one, let alone talk about it. So all I could say was they fly in the air, they land, there's a pilot, and so on. And I got told, you didn't write enough. And I thought, well, how could I write more? And she said, well, you have to read books. And I said, but it's boring. She said, well, you have to study, otherwise you'll never be someone who can write at all. Here I am all these years later with 10 books published under my arms, and I think I've pretty well shown myself that I could write. But had I have let that teacher influence me to this day, I wouldn't have written one book. In fact, when I was teaching around the world in my 30s, people were saying, do you have a book? No, I'm not a writer. I'm a teacher. I can't write. I believed it. I believed that teacher from all those years ago that I couldn't do anything. So I want to throw that back at you, and I want to say, how many things do you tell yourself that you cannot do simply because someone influenced you as a young child to believe that you could not do something? The other day I had a client who came and she said, I have this amazing desire in me to be an artist. And I said, well, what kind of artist do you want? She said, I haven't a clue. I said, well, there's singing, dancing, acting, painting, writing poems and so on. And she looked at me overwhelmed and she said, I can't do any of that. So I said, well, why do you think you're telling yourself you want to be an artist? I don't know, she said, it just came to me. But of course she was having a moment of inspiration, and when I questioned her further, she said, well, I was useless in school. The art teacher always used to come up and tell me, you'll never draw, you'll never paint. But I always used to love the colours. And I said, well, why don't you start on ground level 1 again? Be a child, go enroll in some class, paint away. Don't worry about whether it's as good as your neighbours. Don't worry about whether your teacher likes it or not. Just have the pleasure of exploring the feeling of whatever it is you're going to paint. She looked at me and she said, could I do that? I said, of course you can. Well, she's painting away and she's amazing herself because she's done some really good work. You see, the point here of this little story is that we all have within us talents and skills. And those talents and skills need to be inspired, need to be stimulated, need to be encouraged. And unfortunately, most of us don't get to be stimulated in that way. We're told you have to master your academics. You have to get your grammar right when you write. You have to do your math, and you have to be able to prove why this corner equals that corner and why these circles all measure up to something or other. Well, I remember doing that and thinking I was quite clever. And you know what? I can't remember anything that I learned all those years ago. I haven't a clue how A plus B equals C anymore. Did it help me? Not really. Did I develop my character and personality as a result of it? Absolutely. I learned to say I hate it. I learned to say I like it. I learned to say I have my own point of view. Of course, a lot of people shrug their shoulders and they say, I haven't a clue to this day. I still don't know what I'm thinking and feeling about myself. I don't have any confidence. I don't trust myself to make a really neat thing happen in my life. So I'll just procrastinate. I'll just carry on trying my best to just survive. I won't give myself any time out to enjoy my creativity. I definitely won't go back to school and learn anymore because I was labelled a dunce when I was in school. I remember that learning was so hard to do, and I don't want to put myself through that again. So learning isn't a joy, it's a task. Yeah, when we go to school, we're told you have to study hard. You have to get at least a B plus. If you get anything less than that, you're a failure. You're going to go into the C grade and even worse into the dunce grade, and then everyone's going to ostracize you because you're so stupid. Well, that's not a very nice situation to be pushed into. A lot of schools have decided to eliminate the creativity. They are lacking funds, they're not supporting the children today in their creativity, so it's left to the parents. And if the parents don't have any interest in that kind of thing, let's say they're working on a computer all day and they're intellectual, then their child isn't getting the kind of information that they need to get about their creativity. They need to explore it. So I'm bringing this back to you as you're watching me, and I want to ask you, how creative are you? Have you put yourself down? Have you blocked yourself from learning something creative? I suggest that you might try writing a little normal stanza poem. I'll make one up just to show you. There was an old man who sat on a wall. He didn't understand anything at all. He asked people, "Where shall I go?" Nobody knew, and nobody ever foretold that if he got down off the wall and even allowed himself to fall, he would find a new experience that would lead him towards embracing divine love. Wasn't quite really perfect poem, was it? I made it up as I went along. You can do that kind of thing too, because once you start, you begin to show yourself that you can create something. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you try. Over the years, I've done so many things: knitting, sewing, singing, dancing, writing. It's just endless. I was fortunate that I had parents that encouraged me to try and do anything as best I could. And it didn't really matter if I failed, so long as I tried. My father used to say to me, "You're born a lady, you're a woman. No matter where you go in the world, you are capable, you are responsible for how you feel and what you think. So don't let yourself down. You can do it. Try." Words of wisdom. He's still around. He's 98 this year and still saying to me, "You can do whatever you try to do." And I'm passing that on to you. Trying is not about struggling. It's about enjoying the experience of discovering that you have something within you that needs to come out. I was talking to someone the other day about singing, and she said, "Oh no, I cannot sing." And I said, "Why do you say you cannot sing?" She said, "I've never sung." So I said, "Surely you sung in school, choir or something." She said, "Oh no, we never sung." I said, "Well, did you sing the national anthem?" And she said, No, I used to sort of pretend I was singing, but I didn't try." I said, "Wow, you speak, don't you?" So she said, "Yes." So I said, "Well, if you can speak, then you can sing." And she said, No, I cannot." Well, with encouragement, she took some classes, and amazingly, she had this beautiful voice. When she sang, it shifted her consciousness. She began to realize, hey, there's more in me than I ever thought of. She likes to sing karaoke now, and she's always practicing. And I'm so happy to see all the changes that occurred in her personality as a result of doing this one thing. So before you start thinking about spending a fortune on some kind of coaching course that's going to make you a lot of money and open windows and doors beyond your wildest imagination, let's pull you all the way back to you. Let's stop and think, who are you? Why did you come into this world? What did you expect that you should do here? Well, of course, consciously you don't really know. But intuitively, you have a feeling, you have an instinct, something in you that says, I could try this. So don't procrastinate. Don't talk yourself out of it. Have a go. There's no one standing over you saying you have to get a B+. You're an adult now, and you can make choices for yourself. I always stop and say to all my clients before we even start a session, what area of your life do you want me to help you with? What area of your life do you want me to coach you to understand that you have this full potential within you? Well, some people will come to me and say, well, I'm having a problem with relationships. I can't get my husband or wife or kids to understand me. I'm trying to understand them, but we just coming at one another with arguments and misunderstandings and so on. And then they start telling me all the stories. And I'll stop and say, wait, stop a minute. Stop obsessing about what is wrong. Take a deep breath. Let's have a look. What is right first? Do you love these people? You know, when you love them, do you love them from the heart, spirit, soul? Or are you loving them because you think they're going to give you love back? You know, we can't earn love. Love is priceless. It comes in the heart, and we share ourselves through love so that we can entwine, grow, learn, and evolve. Right now, we all know we're in the shift, and we all say that we want to transform, ascend, move into being something else. Do we want to be something we're not? Of course not. We want to find out who we are. We want to discover the truth about ourselves. But if we have a closed mind, if we are in judgment about everything that we see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, we are destructive to ourselves. We don't need to judge. We don't need to condemn. We don't need to talk ourselves down. You do not need to put yourself in a negative space. You need to trust yourself, and that trust comes by trying, doing, enjoying whatever it is you're doing for the sheer pleasure of discovering more about yourself. You know, when I was younger, also in school, I had another teacher. She was very different from most of the teachers that were very abusive, aggressive. You know, a girls' school, we all had to look the same, talk the same, act the same, be the same. But this one lady, she was my art teacher, she saw the potential in every student, and she would come and she would encourage us to express our feelings on the paper. And of course, I loved to paint and draw, so I thoroughly enjoyed her class. But I'm passing that on to you. I'm sure you've been on the phone sometimes and you've been doodling while you've been talking away. You may not realize it, but that is creative. That is artistic. That is your spirit self writing a symbol about your conversation and something about yourself. So you actually have insight in the way you perceive yourself and the things that you do. So next time you doodle, look down. Ask yourself, why have I drawn squares or circles? What's going on here with my conversation? What insights am I giving myself? Because yes, you are your best coach, and you have to learn to trust that. I like to spend time on a one-on-one, face-to-face with my clients, whether they're with me physically or Skyping me or talking on the phone, because that support that is so necessary is not just about how to do something, how to be successful, how to make money. It's about knowing yourself. It's about teaching people how to trust themselves before trusting anyone else. Because if you don't trust yourself, you'll never trust your instincts. And of course, you'll judge everyone else and you won't trust them. Another thing that's very important is you do not need to set up expectations. If you look behind me, there is a mirror. I could stand in front of that mirror and I could critique myself, say the word properly. I could judge myself how attractive I look on this video or how ordinary I look in terms of comparisons with other people. And I could condemn myself and tell myself I'm not very good when I look in that mirror. But you know, what I see in that mirror is not what other people see in me. So part of what I do with people is help them to understand that their perception of self is wrong. That the combination of influences of everyone that's been in yours and everyone else's life has influenced you to see yourself differently from the way the world sees you. Once you begin to understand that the world sees you differently. In fact, they see you rather nicely, even if you're so. Yeah, there's always beauty in someone, even when they're angry, ranting and raving, being a really, really miserable person. We have to see that. We have to appreciate that. We have to understand that that part of ourselves, being the dark part of self, is also the doorway into finding the light part of self. And since we as physical beings need light and dark to see our way around this world, we also need to see the light and dark of our experiences has brought us to a point of awareness of exactly what we want to do, who we want to be with, and how we want to share ourselves with whatever it is we're doing and other people. Yes, there are people out there making a fortune. They're pitching their programs. People are buying it. They're spending a lot of money buying these programs only to find, as I said earlier, that they're overwhelmed, give up, and stop doing whatever it is that they thought they would like to do in the beginning. So my question to you is, are you controlled by the idea that you need more money and that's all you can see? Are you controlled by the material world and all the business aspects of everyone's ideas that never allow you to express your own? Are you working for a company and you hate it? Are you wishing that you could go back to school and study something you'd love to study instead of being made to do what you want to do? These are questions you need to ask yourself. It's not about me telling you what to do. It's only about me helping you to see the points that you have been trying to tell yourself for years. Whenever I do counseling or channeling or a reading or just coaching someone to become better than they are, we always look at the nature of the spirit within. Who you really are is your spirit. Think about this. Your spirit came into your body. Your spirit works your brain, and your brain works your body. Your mental attitude helps you develop emotions. The emotions are a direct connection to your spirit self, and your spirit self has a direct connection to the oneness. Some of you may know that I wrote a book recently called Quantum Entanglement, A Paranormal Point of View, and you're going to see that book on some of my videos where I'm talking about it. The main thing that I wish to mention here is that you're never alone, that you are connected to everyone throughout the world, to your spirit guides, oneness, God, no matter what your religion, no matter what your beliefs are on a conscious level. Your spirit self leads the way. If we think about people who are very negative, destructive, want to kill us or something like that, then we become afraid to lose our life. I want to say to you, it's okay to be afraid about losing your life because that will stimulate you to make sure you keep it. That will stimulate you to make sure you go on to appreciate the life that you have. As children, we struggle and strive to learn. When we become adults, we struggle and strive to make our way in the world. When we do stuff by the time we're 40, we start to realize, hey, I've put a lot of struggle out. Isn't it time that I started to enjoy my life? My kids are growing. I've got freedom to go out in the world and do something else. But hey, I don't know what to do. I haven't a clue. I've never been prepared for this kind of change. I'm lost. I don't know. I'll mosey around. I'll try this and that, and then I'll give up. And then the years go by, and you start to say, I haven't done anything yet. I was going to, but this happened and that happened. I once had a client who said, I want to travel the world, I want to see everything. I gave her a lot of encouragement, a lot of advice, different ways that she could go out in the world and travel. The years went by. I didn't see her. And suddenly I got an email from her saying, I just found the reading you gave me all those years ago. I'm writing to tell you that I didn't travel. I got married. I got tied down with children. And now I'm at that age where I'd like to travel. What do you think? I wrote back, I don't think anything about it. Just do. Do what you want to do. Go where you want to go. Trust yourself that little by little you'll meet other people who will join with you. They could be messengers directing you in another way. They could be advisors. They could be coaching. They could just be friends. But whatever it is, you'll grow and enjoy yourself. Well, another year or two went by, and finally she wrote back to me and said, I'm traveling. I'm a tour leader, and I get sent to different countries. By the way, she was fluent in 2 languages, so that came in very useful. There's lots of things we can do if you just give yourself a chance. And in the same way, if you would like my help, just give yourself a chance. Let me help you in the way that you really need to get your kickstart, to move on, to find a new beginning in your life that will give you every opportunity that you want to give yourself. And you don't have to spend a fortune. All you have to do is go to my website, sumariscenter.com, and I'll write that below this video so you can find it. Or you can write to me at drmargaretrvc.com. Again, I'll write that at the bottom of the video. And we can discuss what it is you'd like me to counsel you, coach you, or channel your spirit guides in some way to help you direct your life and make it count. In other words, believe in yourself, trust yourself that whatever you're going to do in your future, it will work out. God doesn't stop you. God didn't make us to manifest our life in poverty and sorrow and sadness. There are so many disasters in this world. There are so many people suffering. Don't be one of them. Wake up. See that there are lots of beautiful things around you. Lots of things to touch, smell, taste, to explore this world. After all, when you were born, that's all you wanted to do, was to explore the world and in the process discover you. So who are you today? Who have you become? And what more do you want to do that will make your life even fuller? Maybe you need to network and make new friends. Maybe you need to become a teacher and counsel other people eventually. Maybe you'll join a group and build an organization. Who knows where you're going to go? There's nothing wrong in thinking big. There's nothing wrong in wanting to learn more. Go back to school, study, read books, go to the library. Whatever it takes, give yourself a chance. So I've spent a lot of time just chatting the way I usually do. I would just like to remind you that I do have a radio show. It's called Journey into an Unknown World. It's on Web Talk Radio. You can also download all the podcasts from iTunes. So if you want to have an overwhelming dose of Margaret, please do download them and share them, because there are people all over the world who need help. And though you may only tell one person, you will be helping the world. Yes, one by one. The power of one. You have that power. Reach out, touch someone, and feel the joy of knowing that you've helped them today. Thank you for listening to me. Please keep in touch.